Alright, another PAL showcase. This time it's Finsider Ignis. So this PAL has incredibly low stats, just 90 attack and even lower health and defense, down there with probably close to Gobfin in attack and defense. Then it does have a booster partner skill, so it's like Ruby, it boosts firepower and it also reduces the weight of your weapons. So why would you even consider using this low stat PAL? Well, it's all about this Trigger Happy, which is its exclusive skill. I recently did the testing on all the skill fruits and exclusive skills. So we got this Trigger Happy doing an insane amount of DPS. And then we also have this Hydro Slicer Wall Splash combo being very high DPS skill fruits. So we're gonna test this PAL with Lunker, doing this 20% more water damage and having 20% more defense. So the first test here is against its weakness. We're sending it out against hard mode Axel and Orserk, default settings, normal, and using this Mega Boost gun, just to try what it's like with these new PALs. So I'm using the whistles, the water whistle +1, water whistle +2, and then the defense whistle +2, and the attack whistle +2, and then just using this boost gun on this Figness, I guess you could call it, every 30 seconds, I believe it lasts. You can use it a little bit more often so you don't accidentally let it wear off. It's a little bit tricky to use the Mega Boost Gun in combat when you're trying to time everything with reloads and dodging the boss. And then you actually have to hit your PAL with it as well. There's no homing effect, sadly. Hopefully we get some sort of guided missile launcher Mega Boost Gun in the future. But right now you actually have to aim. So this Finsider Ignis, it's a pretty small PAL. And then the regular Finsider, it does have this Trigger Happy as well, but unfortunately it doesn't have the booster partner skill. So what really happens when you have Finsider Ignis in your party is that, like any booster, it gives this 20% attack bonus, and it's pretty rare that you're actually using the booster itself as a combat PAL, so you could potentially just be running 5 Finsider Ignis. Otherwise, just do what I'm doing right now. I've just got my old Kelpsies. You can take any Kelpsies you like, really. I just have a couple that live in my breed, or my ranch actually, inside one of my breeding bases. But you can see that with this Mega Boost Gun, it's actually just about tanky enough to take out Axel and Orserk. So it's dealing weak damage to this boss, it's taking super effective damage. It does resist the grass attacks that he likes to use, but then he also uses Beam Slicer and Blast Cannon, very strong attacks. So overall they're super strong rating. Then we tried to do something a little bit more challenging. So potentially here you would have used Holy Burst, but this PAL is based around this Lunker build, but probably Holy Burst would have been better than probably Hydro Slicer, I guess. It depends a little bit. Wall Splash is also a very strong skill against Victor's big hitbox because of his wings. It manages to hit all 5 splashes with all 3 waves, doing a lot of damage. But I thought, why do Holy Burst builds? Those are getting kind of old. We need to get used to doing other builds than Holy Burst just because they are gonna nerf it, right? It's been, what has it been, 13 months or something? 12 months since Holy Burst? It's gonna get nerfed one of these days. Better get used to practicing with this Lunker thing. Then the benefit of Lunker as well is this 20% added defense. So this is also Legend on this PAL. It's a Demon God Legend. I tried Serenity versus Musclehead. I'm pretty sure that Serenity was an average DPS gain. It's a pretty small difference in attack power between the two, only that 20% suffers from diminishing returns. A little bit stronger since I'm running Lunker, but there's still a lot of testing to be done with all these different whistles, element whistle, attack whistle. It's a booster PAL. The booster PALs actually have diminishing returns with passives. So there's just a lot of stuff still left to test in this patch. What is actually the optimal build? A little bit of a struggle to get him to actually attack the real Victor. Insider, I mean, they seem to like to just every other attack for the clone and every other attack for the main Victor. I tried to like resummon it close to the real one, but it doesn't always work out. Sometimes that's why Holy Burst is also super good here. If he uses Holy Burst on one, they tend to hit both. But this seemed to be enough. Gets the W, very close margins again. So it's getting pretty close here. So now we're gonna move on to one of my more classic DPS tests where I'm not as idle as I've been so far. So a little bit of a throwback here to Faybreak. This is the final standings on the left from all my testing with my different maxed PALs against hard mode Bjorn and Bastigor, running the exact same build every single time. you'll see that it's Vixen and then Necromus, Anubis. All of this really is originates from this Rock Burst build or the Element Swap build. Not sure really what PAL would be good without running this. I guess it's that Neptilius down there to the left that joined a little bit. Ashermain as well did the Rock Burst build. They're all doing the Rock Burst build. So then we also have to the right the new tests I've been doing. So the new Tides of Terraria test is pretty much the same setup. I'm just swapping my accessories really for these new whistles. So Vixen not super min-maxed either, the Necromus not super min-maxed, but you can see that these two did quite well. Vixen actually got the exact same time as during Faebreak, and that's mostly just due to this was a little bit of a sloppy test just to kind of see what would happen. So now it's time for Finsider Ignis test against this hard mode Bjorn. Same thing here, gonna try to change it up a little bit. So the new stuff in this test are these whistles, and I'm gonna use the Mega Boost gun when necessary. I didn't use the Mega Boost gun with Vixen, I did use it with Necromus. And one thing worth mentioning with that Necromus as well is my old Necromus without Vampiric did too much damage. I couldn't hold aggro with this build. So I'll probably redo these tests with some of these new weapons that can actually hold aggro. Probably like the Terra Prisma stuff. Not looking forward to fighting Bjorn 30 times with the Terra Prisma. I might just have to mute during the fight. But I feel like if I am gonna do these kind of tests, I'm either gonna have to choose like Vampiric on every pal, or running like the Overheat Rifle and Terra Prisma just to hold aggro. So one thing that's nice with Finsider is that it does not like, it doesn't resist water, but it's not weak to it either due to this water. But you can see it gets low super fast, and it was a little bit of a struggle actually taking the aggro at the same time as you want to get these Fabric Warriors down as soon as possible. They tend to shoot these missiles that stagger your pal, and they're just very annoying. So I guess like I was thinking, do I really want Lunker? Do I want to swap Lunker for something else? Maybe use the Pal Surgery table, remove Lunker. But you can see how low Finsider got in that first wave of attack. So what usually ends up happening in these Bjorn tests is that the Pal takes aggro for the first maybe 2 or 3 Bjorn attacks. And then you slowly take the aggro away from it and you hold aggro for the rest of the fight. Maybe you need to withdraw dodge for some random like Glacial Impact or something. And here again, I'm just not used to using this Mega Boost gun. So I'm gonna be missing this timing window quite a bit as I'm just focusing on staying alive as well. But I also thought that if I spend time there Mega Boosting, it was a conscious choice. I didn't forget it. I was just like really trying to get my aggro up, doing a lot of damage to Bjorn. I felt like if I swapped to the Mega Boost gun, first I would increase Finsider's damage, so he would maybe take aggro, and I'm not shooting at Bjorn, so I might lose aggro. Boost it again, so now I'm pretty confident that I'm gonna hold aggro. And the nice part here with not using the Rock Burst build is that you can actually just, you don't need to care about where Bjorn is. The Rock Burst builds are pretty tricky. I'd say that they're a pretty high skill build, because you always need to consider where Bjorn is in the room. You're rotating around him at this like perfect range. You need to consider what is Bjorn's min range and max range on his attacks. You don't want him to run after you. You don't want him to jump back. If he does jump back, you want him to jump towards your pal. If he's running after you, you want him to run past your pal, like this positioning here. While Finsider Ignis, he just doesn't miss. He just shoots his guns and hits every single time, unless Bjorn like paths past a pillar or something, I guess. So that's something you can keep in mind, like just don't run behind the pillars. So that's a really nice thing with this Finsider. It's just the accuracy on this skill. And really it's, if that other build was like a high skill one, this is more of a low skill build, except for this aggro part. But you could swap for Vampiric. Like Vampiric is super good against tower bosses. I just feel like if I can skip Vampiric, I will. Just because it feels a little bit more fun to do max damage builds. Big numbers are fun. Vampiric is more like, I guess, the training wheels for tower boss fights. Or not the training wheels, but it's like you sort of scale past Vampiric once you start doing enough damage to hold aggro yourself. So Finsider Ignis didn't really beat this Necromus and Vixen test, and keep in mind that those Necromus and Vixen tests were just I went in and kind of one-shot it. So they could have been better. Vixen's test speed was the exact same as during Faebreak. Now we didn't get any sort of player boost here, so that one would have been even better if I took like the Terra Prisma and the Overheat Rifle instead. So like the Vixen build is extremely special against Bjorn just because you do this sort of root aggregate thing. So you're dealing 4.5 times more damage on headshots and stuff like that. The Necromus build, it's still like the stat difference, I feel. Rock Burst, extremely strong still. Twin Spears, very strong. But it did beat Neptilius by quite a margin. And they're both running Lunker. The Neptilius build was also Lunker. Neptilius did have Vampiric, which this one didn't have. But I still feel like this is a very good result for this pal in this test. Now I will be moving on from this test a little bit, I feel. Gonna change things around. I just want a general idea for this pal. But that's it for this showcase. A very fun pal. And one huge bonus for this one that it's available very early. You can get this pal, like it's not like the legendaries for the raid bosses or anything like that. It's just an early game pal. No need to scale with player damage. You can just catch 5 of them and throw them together. So that's it. Thanks for watching.